Hello, welcome to the Papers with Jim. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of June 2022, and today is an interesting day because it's the day after the first of the rail strikes in Britain. And today I'm not going to look through all the papers, I'm just going to look at the Daily Mail because this is an absolute, there isn't really a word, it's an absolute. This front page, I could talk about this for an hour. I won't, but there's just so much in this that's insane. It's batshit insane. So I thought I would just break that down. So of course we know full well that this is, the daily newspaper of the year, and for 80p you can get really high quality journalism, and you can see that it's pretty clear what the Daily Mail's stance on the strikes are. But what the Daily Mail seems to have forgotten in its kind of its attempts to put a spin on this in a negative way, that they've seemed to have forgotten that the government in Britain at the moment, and for anyone else that doesn't, is also forgotten because they're so wound up and full of rage. The Daily Mail and listeners and readers of Daily Mail, I just want you to remember that at the moment, the current government in Britain is it's the Conservative Party is in power at the moment. Not Labour aren't in power. Labour hasn't been in power for 12 years, so maybe they forgot. Maybe the Daily Mail does like to live in the past, so maybe they forgot that the government that they support, the Tories, are the government at the moment. So, but let's just ignore that. Okay, so they're saying millions of ordinary Britons. So, ordinary Britons, millions of them, millions of ordinary Britons suffer. So the language being used here is just not appropriate, is it? You're ordinary Britons. So just the use of ordinary Britons as opposed to what? As opposed to unusual Britons, or you're trying to just appeal to the common man here, aren't you? Ordinary Britons. Why are they the ones that are getting? Yeah, why are they having to suffer in rail strike mayhem? I mean, I know it was widely publicised for weeks and weeks ahead of time. Everyone knew when it was coming. Everyone knew exactly what dates it was on, and plans were put in place. People made alternate arrangements. I'm pretty sure, for a national strike on one of the country's main forms of public transport, it really didn't seem to be that bad. So I don't know if it was really mayhem. Some people suffered. A lot of people just made alternate plans because they knew that this was coming up. So just such over the top language. 25 left-wing MPs, so just pointing out that they are left-wing, and that, that's kind of a dirty word, according to the Mail, to be left-wing. So they're doing everything they can to just divert attention away from the actual people responsible for this. So think about the children, the ordinary Britons, who have suffered in mayhem that perhaps wasn't quite mayhem, it was just a little bit inconvenient. 25 left-wing MPs, left-wing, the loony left. Remember when we got rid of those in the 80s? Well, they've come back now, and they are defying their party. They're joining the picket lines. And where was Sir Keir? So nothing about Johnson or Grant Shapps or any senior Tory ministers who could have had some influence in this. Sir Keir, remember, Labour aren't in power. So yes, he's the leader of the opposition, and where was he anyway? Well, he was hiding away all day like a coward, calling someone a coward for hiding away. And in that, also, the Daily Mail wants to have their cake and eat it, because they're clearly condemning the strikes, saying that left-wing, they're defying their party. Striking is bad, but also Sir Keir, who's not on the picket line, well, he was hiding away as well. So he couldn't possibly have done the right thing. It's nothing he would have done would have been acceptable to the Daily Mail. And then you've got this like horrible picture here where you've kind of got a picture of all the people, all the MPs who are on the picket line, and all of their names and the constituencies which they represent, like a kind of Soviet era list of, well, here are the enemies of the state, and almost encouraging readers to be like, okay, well, if you live in Coventry South and Zara Sultana is, I don't know, I'd have to count, but one of these, then, you know, contact your local MP and complain, because, you know, it's that kind of just horrible shittiness. And then the main sort of thing here, Labour isn't working, is the claim, as if Labour are in power still. It's baffling. It is honestly the mental gymnastics to end up with this as your front page. It's just outstanding work. Labour isn't working is the claim, which is a weird claim to make when there has just been a national strike the day before, isn't it? If Labour wasn't working, then they would have failed to get any industrial action, wouldn't they? But what happened yesterday, and again, I'm not sure if the Daily Mail and its readers need reminders, more frequent reminders of what really is happening in the world. First of all, the Labour Party isn't in power. And second of all, there was a nationwide strike yesterday, which means Labour is literally working. Whenever there is strikes, that's basically the Labour Party and its affiliations with unions. So this is where we are with the Daily Mail, just calling people cowards. The day we went back to the 70s, yeah, because there was, you know, they had unions in the 70s as well. Remember, people who read the Daily Mail, remember in the 70s when there were strikes. Wow, it's just like that again, isn't it? It's all the same. It's exactly the same as it was in the 70s. Well, we've gone back in time. Let's go back to the 80s. Let's go back to Thatcher. We loved Thatcher. Let's get her back. So that's the Daily Mail. Yep. Okay.